Hey everybody, welcome to episode 8 of the AskDAP show, where we answer your VW and Audi questions.
Tom via email says, Paul, I have a 2011 Tiguan SE with about 60k on it now. When should I replace the coolant? Could you do a coolant flush DIY in the future? Thanks again for all the great videos.
Tom, so cooling system services, we double checked the official maintenance record for VW for that specific model. VW does not have a service interval for the cooling system. Now, CRP, which is the people who make Pentosan, who actually makes the VW coolant, they put together a great video with the guy who we work a lot with, Charles the Humblemechanic. We'll link up the video they did together that talks all really in-depth about coolant, all the details about it. It's really super nerdy as far as car nerd stuff. If you're not into cars or really into parts and stuff like that, it'll probably make your eyes glaze over. But great information. They recommend doing a cooling system service around 100,000 because it does break down over time and you will want to replace it. And then as far as the DIY, we'll look into it. Obviously we have mountains of DIYs we'd love to do, and unfortunately there's so much time in a day for us to do them.
Kenneth M via email says, Hey, love your channel, extremely helpful. I have a Volkswagen CC 2010 2.0 TSI vehicle. I've been having a problem with my vehicle when I drive for 20 to 30 minutes. My car will stall and the engine will turn off, but everything would stay on the car, radio, lights, etc., and the battery light shows. I can turn on my car a couple seconds afterwards, but it will stall every 1 to 4 minutes consecutively. Check engine light does not turn on often, but when I do happen to catch it, it gives me a P2293 code. I did change my fuel pressure sensor that's located on the fuel rail, which solved the issue for a day. Example, the car would jerk after 20 minutes, primarily when I'm driving under 30 miles per hour or idle. Then the accelerator would not work and the car would stall. Thanks, hope to hear from you soon.
Kenneth, so we've actually went over something similar to this on a couple different cars, but we wanted to answer this on the show because it's probably slightly different. P2293 specifically points to the N276 valve, which is actually inside the high pressure fuel pump. Now, just because you have a P2293 fault doesn't necessarily mean it's the high pressure fuel pump, but in this particular case, it's likely to be the case. Now, other things, it could be low pressure fuel pump module or the low pressure fuel pump in the tank. But in this situation, it's probably the high pressure pump because that cutting out and jerking that's kind of violent is most likely to only be a quick fuel cut that happens that would likely not result in something that would be a low pressure pump or the module. They wouldn't cut out quick like that because it sounds like the valve is just sticking, causing fuel to sporadically just jolt out and have no more fuel and just run out. So most likely start by replacing your high pressure fuel pump. We'll put a link to that in the description below for a genuine VW one, and we also have a 360 view of that pressure pump that we'll also link right here, and so you can take a look at that as well.
A user on Reddit says he just bought a Mark VII. Anyone want to talk about warranty and service packages? I walked out of the dealer without buying one, and I'm calling around. A 4-year service warranty for $1,700, a 7-year extended manufacturer warranty for $2,000. Looking for advice.
Okay, so extended warranties and service contracts is something a lot of people, when they get new cars, they look at. Service contracts are really something that I personally don't recommend. That's just my opinion, because essentially all you're doing is flattening out your cost. You're paying all at one time for all your maintenance, plus a premium, as opposed to paying over time. Now, if you feel like it makes more sense for you to budget that way, that's kind of a financial decision as far as I'm concerned, just that so you know what your overall maintenance cost is going to be over the life of your vehicle. That's a choice that you may want to make. Now, extended warranties are a whole different ballgame, and is something I recommend on most cars if you plan on keeping it long term and you're actually going to have some use of that warranty through the life of the vehicle. The problem with extended warranties is there's so many companies that offer them. There's so much variety. There's so many different levels of what you're getting. So you're 9 times out of 10, you're not even comparing apples to apples when you price shop, because you don't know what the level of coverage is or what they cover and things like that. Now, if you shop all those things, you can start to get a little bit closer to an accurate comparison in price. Now, my personal opinion, and just from my experience, I only recommend Fidelity. They work directly with VW of America and a lot of their stuff. If you look at a lot of VOA's, Volkswagen of America's information and literature on extended warranties, they very often everything is through Fidelity warranty. So basically, it's not an OEM extended warranty, but essentially it is, because they work together. The one thing I always tell people is, don't believe us, do the research for yourself. Contact your local dealer, the service advisors. They deal with extended warranties all the time, so they know the companies who are horrible, who barely pay anything and try to skate out of every payment they can, and they know the ones that are easy to work with, cover things when they should, and don't make the customer's life difficult, and or the service advisor. Because keep in mind, sometimes some of these companies make people, the advisor, have to fight really hard to get paid. And if you go to the dealer who maybe isn't someone who's really going to bat for you, you may not get covered just based on the fact that they're not fighting as hard as they could to get paid. So just keep in mind, Fidelity is always the one I recommend going with no matter what. Almost every dealership, probably VW dealership in America, should offer the Fidelity. And if not, you could probably just call any random dealer up and you talk to the finance manager, and they should be able to help you get a service contract. Thank you for watching episode 8 of the AskDAP show. If you want any questions answered, shoot us an email, info@shopdap.com, and make sure to check us out on social media.